This is not your average Scotland video. You won't hear the same old tales, but instead, I'll reveal extraordinary and little-known details. If you crave even more, I've made 2 other Scotland videos you can find in the top right corner, in the description, and right under this video. Write me your thoughts, corrections, or additions in the comments. I'll answer them all. Fact 1. The world's shortest flight. In the Orkney Islands, you can find the world's shortest scheduled passenger flight, operating between Westray and Papa Westray. The distance is less than 2 miles, and under the right wind conditions, the entire journey takes only about 90 seconds. The locals pronounce the names Westray and as Papa Westray. Despite its short duration, this flight is a lifeline for the community, connecting schools, businesses, and medical services. A ticket costs around $30 American, which equals about 24 Scottish pounds. Tourists often ride it just for the novelty, making it one of the quirkiest travel experiences on the planet. It is a reminder that in remote Scotland, geography shapes life in very unique ways. Fact 2. Scotland's hidden gold. Few people realize that Scotland holds one of the largest natural gold deposits in the world. Deep in the Highlands, particularly near Tindrum, lies the Connaught gold mine, where veins of precious metal run through the ancient rock. Locals pronounce it Tindrum, and the surrounding hills have drawn prospectors for centuries. While Scotland is not usually thought of as a gold-rich land, surveys show there are still millions of ounces waiting underground. Modern mining here balances strict environmental rules with the excitement of potential fortune. A single ounce of gold can fetch over 2,000 American dollars, about 1,600 Scottish pounds, making the mine economically significant. For adventurers, it adds a Wild West flavor to the highlands, though instead of cowboys, you get misty glens and sheep grazing nearby. Fact 3. 400 words for snow. The Scots have an extraordinary relationship with their weather, and especially with snow. In the Scots language, there are more than 400 different words to describe it. Locals say snore for snow, sneasel for starting to snow, and skelf for a large snowflake. These words capture the variety of conditions people face in the Highlands and Islands, where winter weather can change quickly. Linguists believe this richness of vocabulary reflects how central snow and cold were to everyday life through history. It is similar to how Arctic peoples describe ice in countless ways. Today, these words still survive in poems, songs, and daily speech. They show how language preserves culture, humor, and identity. It proves that in Scotland, snow is not just white powder, it is a whole universe of experiences. Fact 4. The depth of Loch Ness. Loch Ness is far more than just the home of a legendary monster. It is a geological marvel. This massive loch contains more water than all the lakes in England and Wales combined. Locals pronounce it Loch Ness with a sharp K at the end. Stretching over 20 miles long and more than 700 feet deep, it holds an incredible volume of fresh water. Scientists estimate it could cover the entire population of the United Kingdom in drinking water for years. Despite its enormous size, the dark, peat-stained water makes it nearly impossible to see clearly below the surface. This murky mystery fuels the myths about Nessie. For visitors, standing on its shores feels humbling, as if you are staring into the endless unknown. Loch Ness proves that nature itself can be more impressive than any legend. Fact 5. The Scottish Cup. Scotland is home to the Scottish Cup, one of the oldest football trophies in the entire world. First played in 1873, the competition still runs today, making it a living piece of sporting history. Locals pronounce it simply as Scottish Cup, with pride in their voices. Unlike many modern tournaments, this cup has roots in the very beginnings of organised football. The original silver trophy, valued at more than 250,000 American dollars, about 200,000 Scottish pounds, is still awarded each year. For small-town teams, drawing a big club in the cup is a dream come true, as it allows them to play in legendary stadiums. It shows how Scotland helped shape football into the global sport it is today. The Scottish Cup is not just silverware, it is a story of passion, tradition, and national pride. Fact 6. The first colour broadcast. Scotland played a pioneering role in television history by hosting the world's first colour broadcast. This groundbreaking moment happened in 1958 from the Kirk O'Shots transmitter near Glasgow. Locals pronounce it Kirk O'Shots, and at the time it felt like magic to see moving images in colour. The test involved broadcasting the Edinburgh Festival, showing dancers and performers in bright costumes that amazed viewers. It was a turning point for television, proving that the technology was ready to change entertainment forever. Today, colour broadcasting feels ordinary, but back then it was revolutionary and carried enormous cultural impact. Without that Scottish leap, the world might have waited much longer to watch sports, films, and news in full, vivid detail. It is another reminder that Scotland has quietly shaped modern technology in surprising ways. Fact 7. Skara Brae, older than Stonehenge. On the Orkney Islands lies Skara Brae, one of the oldest preserved villages in the world. Locals pronounce it Skara Brae, and it dates back more than 5,000 years, making it older than both Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Egypt. This Neolithic settlement was buried under sand for centuries until a storm in 1850 uncovered it. What makes Skara Brae remarkable is how well it has survived. Stone houses, furniture, and drainage systems can still be seen today. Walking through it feels like stepping directly into prehistory. Archaeologists believe it was home to farmers, fishermen, and craftsmen who thrived in this windswept corner of Scotland. Skara Brae proves that Scotland was once a centre of innovation, long before recorded history. For visitors, it is one of the most breathtaking time capsules on Earth. Fact 8. A land of castles. Scotland has more castles than there are days in a year, with estimates ranging from 2,000 to over 3,000 structures. Locals pronounce castle as castell rather than the English castle, and for Scots, these fortresses are part of their living landscape. Some castles stand proudly restored, like Edinburgh Castle or Stirling, while others remain haunting ruins scattered across hillsides and lochs. They were built not only as homes for nobility, but also as strongholds during centuries of clan wars and invasions. Each castle holds stories of betrayal, bravery, and bloodshed, weaving together the turbulent history of Scotland. Today, many serve as museums, hotels, or wedding venues, while others simply sit as atmospheric reminders of the past. The sheer number of castles makes Scotland one of the richest countries in Europe for medieval heritage. Fact 9. Sherlock Holmes, a Scottish creation. The world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes, was born not in London, but in the imagination of a Scot. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, from Edinburgh, pronounced Edinburgh by locals, created Holmes in 1887. Doyle studied medicine at the University of Edinburgh under a professor whose sharp observational skills inspired Holmes's deductive methods. While the stories are set mostly in London, the detective's roots are deeply Scottish. The character became so iconic that statues of Holmes stand not only in Baker Street, but also in Edinburgh. Doyle himself admitted that his Scottish upbringing and education shaped Holmes' logic and cool-headedness. Today, fans worldwide link Holmes to London fog, yet few know his creator walked the cobbled streets of Edinburgh as a young man. Scotland, once again, quietly influenced one of the greatest cultural icons ever written. Fact 10. The birth of MRI technology. Modern medicine owes a great debt to Scotland because the concept of MRI scanning was born here. It was Professor John Mallard of the University of Aberdeen, locals say Aberdeen, who in the 1970s led the team that built the first full-body MRI machine. This breakthrough allowed doctors to see inside the human body without surgery or harmful radiation. The first clinical images were taken in 1980, showing tumors that had never been so clearly detected before. Today, MRI saves millions of lives every year across the globe. A single scan can cost between $500 and $3,000 American dollars, or around 400 to 2,400 Scottish pounds, depending on the hospital. Few realize that this essential tool for diagnosing strokes, cancers, and injuries traces its origins back to Scotland's innovation. Fact 11. Hockey before Canada. While most people believe ice hockey is a Canadian invention, Scotland can actually claim to have created the game's earliest form. In the Middle Ages, Scots played a sport called shinty, pronounced shinte, on frozen lochs and fields. Using curved sticks, players would strike a ball or lump of wood in a fast-paced match that looked strikingly similar to modern hockey. Scottish immigrants later carried these traditions abroad, and historians believe this heavily influenced the birth of ice hockey in Canada. Today, shinty is still played in the Highlands, keeping alive a link to Scotland's sporting roots. The Gaelic name for it, Camanachd, pronounced Camanach, shows its deep cultural heritage. So while Canada perfected and popularized the game, its true ancestral home may well lie in Scotland's frosty glens and lochs. Fact 12. The red squirrels of Scotland. Scotland is home to the largest population of red squirrels in the United Kingdom, a species that has nearly disappeared elsewhere. Locals call them reed squirrels, and they are instantly recognizable by their tufted ears and fiery coats. Once common across Britain, red squirrels were pushed aside by the invasive grey squirrel, introduced from North America in the 19th century. Today, over 3/4 of the remaining red squirrel population lives in Scotland, particularly in the Highlands and areas like Perthshire. Conservation projects protect them with feeding stations and careful woodland management. For many Scots, spotting a red squirrel is considered a lucky sign during a walk in the forest. These animals have become symbols of Scottish wildlife and resilience, showing how the country still preserves creatures that elsewhere have nearly vanished. Fact 13. Europe's largest oil field. Beneath the North Sea lies one of Europe's most significant oil reserves, discovered off the coast of Scotland in the 1970s. Locals often refer to it simply as the North Sea oil, pronounced North Sea oil. The fields, especially the Forties field, have provided billions of barrels of crude oil and natural gas, transforming Scotland's economy. Aberdeen, nicknamed the oil capital of Europe, became a hub for engineers, scientists, and international companies. At its peak, oil brought in tens of billions of American dollars annually, equal to tens of billions of Scottish pounds. This industry created thousands of high-paying jobs and funded infrastructure across the nation. While renewable energy is now rising, North Sea oil remains a vital chapter in modern Scottish history, showing how natural resources can reshape a country's fortunes almost overnight. Fact 14. The Falkirk Wheel. The Falkirk Wheel is one of the most unusual engineering marvels in the world, and it stands proudly in central Scotland. Locals pronounce it Falkirk Wheel, and it is the only rotating boat lift of its kind on Earth. Opened in 2002, it was designed to connect the Union Canal with the Forth and Clyde Canal, lifting boats nearly 80 feet in the air with a slow, graceful spin. Unlike traditional locks, the wheel uses a perfectly balanced design, requiring very little electricity, about the same energy as boiling 8 kettles of water. It cost around 85 million American dollars, or about 68 million Scottish pounds, to build, yet it has become a beloved national landmark. For visitors, watching boats rise and fall on this futuristic structure feels like seeing a giant piece of moving art. Fact 15. The first iron warship. Scotland made naval history by building the world's first iron-hulled warship. This pioneering vessel, HMS Warrior, was launched from the Clyde shipyards near Glasgow in the mid-19th century. Locals pronounce the city as Glasgow, and its shipyards were once the beating heart of global engineering. Unlike wooden ships that dominated for centuries, the iron hull made the Warrior stronger, faster, and nearly impossible to sink with conventional weapons of the time. This innovation transformed naval warfare and set a new standard across the world's fleets. The Clyde became famous as the birthplace of many legendary ships, from liners like the Queen Mary to vital naval vessels. Today, the story of HMS Warrior reflects Scotland's role in industrial progress and how its craftsmanship shaped not just local pride, but world history. Thank you so much for watching this video about Scotland's lesser-known treasures. I truly appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, as it really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming travel documentaries and fact videos I'm preparing. I'd love to hear your thoughts, corrections, or even more Scottish facts down in the comments. I read and reply to all of them. And finally, check out the other Scotland videos linked below and in the top right corner for even more amazing discoveries.